My friends, please, please, please let me go this time around. I pleaded, I begged, I cried. No, I can't let you spend money on these wasteful activities. You don't know the value of money. Only when you earn it, you will learn it. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, that was me pleading with my mother to let me go for my final year excursion with my friends while I was at college. She refused to budge. I stormed out of my own home in anger, but not before telling her that she is the worst mother that anyone can ever get. I walked to a park, tried to deal with my frustration. As time flew by, the glimmering rays of sunset filled the park, cooling down the temperature. And with it, so did my tempers. I looked around and saw a distant children playing happily and merrily like a butterfly, as if there is no tomorrow. I looked at them and whispered, "Lucky you." Some more time went by. The cloud of darkness engulfed the surroundings. The stomach started rumbling and craving for food, and the mosquitoes feasted on me. I had to go back somewhere, and all of a sudden, I found the wisdom in my mother's obstinance. Maybe she was right. I had to go back. And as I slowly walked out of the park, I saw a van with a caption, "Sharnalaya, Home for Orphans." I turned round and looked at the children. And when a sudden thought crossed my mind, I have someone with whom I can demand money. I have someone with whom I can fight. I have someone who will still give me food. And I have someone who will still give me a roof to live under. What about these children? These are children of God. Not because their parents are dead, but because they are abandoned by their parents for reasons too cruel, for reasons too selfish. I went back home and did research on the orphans in India and unearthed some staggering facts. According to a report by UNICEF, there are about 35 million orphans in our country. 35 million. A number large enough, so large that there are around 207 countries in the world with population less than 35 million. And even more staggering is the fact that only 0.3% of this 35 million are orphans because their parents are dead. 99% of these people are abandoned by their parents due to poor social and economic reasons. Many of them are not only deprived of their fundamental rights, but also are victims of malnutrition. Amidst all the battle between India and China to race to the top, there is one which we are sure to win. That is population. But despite that, it's still incredible that more Indian orphans are adopted by foreign nationals than fellow Indians. Why is the adoption rate in India so poor? One of my friends joked that it's difficult to bring up one of your biological kid in India. How can you even think of adopting another one? Let's not even get into the economic reasons here. There are more people in our country who are reasonably well off, that their numbers will also exceed the population of some other countries. One of my friends told me that one of the reasons that is blocking adoption in our country is the complex adoption laws. I did some research on it and found that the truth to be on the contrary. It just turned out to be a myth. Our government has taken so many measures to make adoption laws less complex. You don't have to be a couple anymore to adopt a kid. Any single parent, male or female, can do it with fewer hassles. Then what is the other reason? One of the determinant factors hindering adoption in our country is fear of social acceptance. Abandoned children are generally believed to be from undesired sections of society. As conservative says, how can you bring a child home without knowing what the background of his parents is? What if they are thieves, murderers, or even worse, lunatics? In other words, how can you bring a kid home without knowing what runs in his genes? Is it that how it works? If my father is a psychotic, will I also be a psychotic? If my father is a bus driver, will I be a bus driver? Or even if my father is an Albert Einstein, will I be an Albert Einstein? What about the social circumstances and moral upbringing that usually develops into is a factor in the personality traits, determines the personality traits of a kid? Yet, despite all all this, there are glaring examples of adopted orphans who have made it big in the society. They have inspired, entertained, changed the business paradigms, and ruled the world, quite literally. Nelson Mandela and Malcolm X have inspired generations. Marilyn Monroe entertained. One of the business tycoons was abandoned as a 9-month-old baby and was later adopted by his uncle. Today, he gives us our livelihoods. Larry Ellison. While Larry gave us a job, his close friend and another adopted orphan, Steve Jobs, revolutionized the world with his technological innovations. Bill Clinton, who was adopted by his stepfather, went on to rule the world. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, imagine the feeling of growing up without the cozy comforts of your home, without the protection of your parents, or without the bonding that your parents provide. Adoption in India, despite its humongous population, is still very, very unpopular. India is home to the largest number of not-for-profit, non-governmental organizations. So much so that a Water University professor once remarked, if only these people were actually doing their job, we can alleviate 50% of malnutrition in the world. The best way to embrace children of God is not by merely funding these organizations, but by emotionally connecting to them. Jim Gritter, one of the author of an extremely eye-opening book called Life Givers, once remarked, ask not who the child belongs to, ask who belongs to the child. So the next time when you look at a child, what would you look at the child as? As a socially deprived kid, or as a father, a mother, a brother, or a sister? The choice is all yours. Over to you.